Everyone remembers 2020, right? I'm not talking about the big event that kept us in our houses for a few years. No, I'm talking about the launch of the PlayStation 5. It debuted to big sales by scalpers. Things got to the point where my cousin paid over $1,000 for his system. They were hard to get your hands on. Not that I even wanted one. There were very few releases for the thing. I was still enjoying games on the PlayStation 4 and didn't think I would ever make the jump to the new hardware. I figured my relationship with gaming would have ended with the 9th generation. That, luckily, wasn't the case, as I purchased a PS5 in November of 2024. I've been enjoying it ever since. But I've heard some people talk about a new supposed system from Sony and Microsoft, and I thought I would discuss the topic from my point of view as a somewhat jaded gamer. I would like to note how I'm mostly referring to modern gaming. There are still things coming out that are really neat, like Evercade and their new bar-top arcade console called the Evercade Alpha that came out in 2025 and works with all of their cartridges. They now have 3 systems, each with different ways to enjoy classic games. I have both their systems, their console and their handheld, and I couldn't be happier with both of them. I like to mention Evercade every chance I get. There are also emulation handhelds that seem to get better each and every year, that offer better and better emulation. And you cannot forget indie game developers who make new games for older systems. These people are doing the Lord's work. I would never have imagined the Dreamcast would still get new games after all these years. But these are the kinds of experiences that I may not have been actively seeking out 5 years ago, but I'm keeping my finger on the pulse on this type of stuff, now more than ever, getting sidetracked by those smaller arcade-like experiences that fill my time better than picking up and putting down a modern 60-hour story-driven game. With all that out of the way, the average generation lasts 5 to 7 years. The more we've progressed throughout the years, the less we see in graphical improvements. PS5 boasted ray tracing, and I'll be completely honest, when someone talks about how good the ray tracing is on a particular game, I just smile and nod. Yeah, I know it has something to do with lighting or something, but if you ask me which games do and do not have ray tracing, I would just walk away. It's a shame that's the big buzzword this generation. I missed stuff like blast processing or parallax scrolling. You see Sonic the Hedgehog and the term blast processing just makes sense. When I was a kid, the jump from SNES to N64 and PlayStation was what I remembered earliest. It was a night and day difference going from pixels to polygons. Then going from the PlayStation 1 to the PS2 and original Xbox was an absolute revelation. I was finally part of the hype, and the 6th generation might be my favorite generation because of that jump. I was excited. Maybe it's because I'm an adult now that current video games don't quite excite me as much as they did before, or perhaps the fun, catchy playground slogans and console wars are over. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft all have their cozy little corners, and they don't feel much of a need to compete with one another. Console exclusives are disappearing like Amelia Earhart. I swear, I poured one out when I saw Master Chief on a PS5 box. It's incredibly sad to see games jumping ship from Xbox. I know a lot of people are happy about gaming becoming more accessible because everything's coming out for every console it seems, but I miss the feeling of picking a system and waiting for what exciting games only I could play because I chose that system. When I had an OG Xbox, there were so many games I played that you couldn't play anywhere else. Games like Bloodwake, Crimson Skies, Grabbed by the Ghoulies, Halo, the list goes on. Now, Xbox doesn't offer any exclusives. Sony spent most of their first-party money on live service games where almost all of them were cancelled, and Nintendo have always been Nintendo. Sony and Nintendo still believe in the value of exclusives, but their opinions on what that means differs greatly at the moment. Didn't you ever feel like your purchase was justified when you have games not everyone else can own? Let's put it this way. What is the point of making gaming machines that has the same games as everyone else? If there's no competitive edge, where does the value come from? Look at gaming right now. Do you see value anywhere? Since the chip shortage a few years ago, gaming's only gotten more expensive. I'm not ready to jump into the PS6 or new Xbox systems yet. Are you? In my opinion, since I just jumped into the PlayStation 5 ecosystem and finally get to enjoy games exclusive to it, I think I'd be ready for something new in, I don't know, 2029 or 2030? After all, I need time to play true exclusives like the amazing Astro Bot, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Returnal, Stellar Blade, and I'm in the middle of playing through Spider-Man 2 right now. But my attention's been divided between a lot of things recently, mostly my family and this channel. I feel like that would give developers more time to make games for the current or next generations of systems, and a lot more time for Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft to better plan their system launches, considering all the global economic stuff going on currently. I think that would be a major win for everyone. Not to mention, the jumps in graphical capabilities between generations has only increased by the smallest margin year after year anyway. We're no longer going to get those leaps like the PS1 to the PS2, or even the PS2 to the PS3 ever again. At least, not at the rate we're at. We don't even get the system refreshes towards the end of a system's life anymore. Remember the slim PS3 with next to no memory, the sliding cover for the disc tray, and the whole package with a controller was only $100. Yeah, I think we can wait. With everything getting more expensive, games taking between 5 to 10 years to make, and the systems taking a few years to truly get going, a decade-long generation makes perfect sense. It's time to stop catching up with technology and let technology keep up with us. Thanks for watching.